Hey guys, it's Tanika and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my top makeup products and makeup tips for redheads. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, give this video a thumbs up and keep on watching. First of all, we're going to be talking about primer. Now, having red hair usually means having pale skin, and this means that any redness we have on our skin is much more prominent. If you're like me, my skin is quite sensitive to touch and does go red very easily, and on top of that I get breakouts and have scars from previous acne. So before I do my makeup, I always like to start out with some color correcting, and green is the color that counteracts redness. My all-time favorite primer is the Stila One Step Correct, and this comes with a mix of 3 shades. You've got the green for redness, the peach for dark circles, and the lavender is for swallowness. I really find this helps counteract the overall redness of my skin, and it's also a super hydrating primer. If you're not looking for an all-over redness solution, you just want to spot conceal, you can go in with a green concealer, and these can either come in little tubes or sometimes in color correcting palettes. These two here are my favorites. The first one is from Australis and the next one is from LA Girl. I like to just put a little bit of this on the back of my hand or onto a mixing palette and go in with a synthetic semi-dense brush, and then I apply it over any breakouts or pigmentation that I have. Once you have it color corrected, the redness will be neutralized. So when you go ahead and put your foundation on, depending on how severe your redness is, you either won't be able to see these spots or they will be drastically reduced. Next is foundation, and the key to this is finding your undertone. So you can be cool, neutral, or warm. There is heaps of information about undertones on the internet already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but for me, I am a neutral to slightly cool undertone. I have a mix of undertones within my foundation collection, so I'll just insert some swatches now with the difference between a cool undertone and a neutral undertone. So this shade here is the Maybelline Fit Me in 110 Porcelain, and this is a neutral shade. And this one here is MAC Studio Fix Fluid in the shade NW10, and this has a cool undertone. Once you determine this, it'll make it much easier to find the right foundation match for you. Now, the market is actually starting to come out with a lot more options for people with fair skin, but if you're still having trouble finding a foundation that is light enough, the next step is to buy some whitening drops. These are simply a white liquid that you drop into any foundation, mix it up, and your foundation is instantly lighter. They don't change the formula or the consistency of the foundation at all. All it does is make it lighter, and they are a really good option if you're super pale. A little tip when trying to mix your foundation shade, on the back of your palette or the back of your hand, wherever you're mixing, put a little swatch of a foundation that actually matches you, or one that is very close, and then keep mixing the foundation and the white mixer until it matches or is as close as can be to the foundation you swatch next to it. Then you know it's gonna match and you haven't gone too white. Concealer is next, and I'm sure you've all felt the struggles of trying to find a concealer light enough to highlight under your eyes, or even just to match your skin really. I find that high-end products are more on the money when it comes to this one, and my number one go-to concealer is the Tarte Shape Tape. This is a very full coverage formula, so if that's not you, I will suggest some others, but for the people who like that, this concealer is so good because the shades go super fair. I have the 2 lightest shades in the range, and they both work for me when it comes to highlighting under my eyes. If you're after something a little more lightweight, then I suggest trying out the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. And I actually do have one concealer from the drugstore that I do like, and it's actually from Essence. And it's called the Camouflage Full Coverage Concealer, and this is in the shade 05 Ivory. It is more cool undertoned, so more pink. I personally prefer my under eye concealer to be more on the yellow side, as I find it does a better job of brightening, but I can still get it to work, and it's actually really good for such an affordable price. I'll insert some swatches of these concealers now so you can get a look at the shades. Firstly, we've got the Tarte Shape Tape in Fair, and then the Tarte Shape Tape in Fair Neutral. This one is the Urban Decay Naked Skin in Fair Neutral, and this one is the Essence Camouflage Concealer in 05 Ivory. Onto brows, and I think these would have to be the most difficult category when it comes to being a redhead. There isn't just one shade of red hair, so we're all going to need a different product that's going to match us and work for us. For me, I do have a lighter colored orange hair, so I find that blonde brow products work best. Naturally, I have very few brow hairs. I'll insert some footage for you now so you can see. So when it comes to doing my brows, I find it really important as it really frames the face. Some products that I recommend are the e.l.f. Eyebrow Kit in the shade Blonde, and I just use the light powder that is in here. This is a really great option if you're just starting to fill in your brows and you don't want to go overboard. It's a really light color, so it's not going to look harsh at all. My favorite brow product at the moment is the NYX Eyebrow Cake Powder in the shade Blonde. This one comes with two powders, a lighter one and a darker one. And I like to use both of them. I use the lighter color to do the front of my brows and then the darker shade to finish off the tail. This NYX product also comes in the shade Auburn. So if you have a darker red hair, then I suggest giving that one a go. If you like using a pencil, then I really suggest the NYX Micro Brow Pencil because it does come in a variety of shades. You've got shades like blondes, taupes, auburns, and browns. So no matter what shade of red your hair is, you should be able to find something within their range. Overall, when it comes to brows, I think if you have lighter red hair, try the taupe or the blonde options. And if you have darker red hair, try out the auburn or the browns. Next is bronzer, and this can be quite scary for a pale skin red-headed gal. But there are some great options on the market, and trust me, they will not leave you looking like an Oompa Loompa. Bronzing is such a great way to add some warmth and color to the skin. And if you're new to bronzing, then my first suggestion is to start with a matte bronzer. Hoola Light by Benefit is a really great option as it is a super light color and it's really buildable. This bronzer is more on the cool side, but it is still warm enough to give some life to our pale skin. I love it because it's not overwhelming and it just looks really natural. Another great bronzer is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil in the shade Light. This is a smidge deeper than the Hoola Light, but still a really great option for beginners. If you're after a drugstore option, one of the only ones I've found and I actually really love is by Rimmel, and this is the Sun Shimmer Bronzer in the shade Light Matte. Even though it has the word shimmer in the title, it's actually a matte bronzer and it's really beautiful for everyday wear. If you're into bronzers that contain a little bit more of a sheen, then my first suggestion is the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Bali Sands. This has a slight golden sheen through it, but it is still super light and just leaves the skin looking bronzed and glowy. And then if you're really up for some bronzed goddess action, I suggest the Nars Laguna. This one also has a golden sheen, but it is a lot deeper in color. I'll insert some swatches of all the bronzers now so you can get an idea of the shades. So firstly, we have the Hoola Light by Benefit. This one is the Too Faced Milk Choc Soleil Bronzer in Light. This one is the Rimmel Sun Shimmer Bronzer in Light Matte. This one is the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Bali Sands. And this one is the Nars Laguna. I do have a few videos reviewing some of the bronzers I mentioned, so I will link them in the description box below if you're interested. Blush is next, and I cannot go a day without it. I just really find it helps to liven up my complexion. I like to use a peachy shade or a muted pink. I find that these complement my pale skin and red hair the most, and I don't mind either a matte or a shimmer. With any blush I use, I always go in with a light hand and just slowly build the color up so that I'm not left looking like a clown. The Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso is one of my all-time favorites. This has a beautiful shimmer through it. It just looks really glowy on the skin. And then for matte bronzers, my two favorites are by Too Faced. The peach one is called I Will Always Love You, and the muted pink is called Baby Love. Next, I want to talk about eyeshadows, and I think that when it comes to eyeshadows, don't be afraid to experiment. Warm toned browns and gold shimmers really look amazing with red hair, but my absolute favorite shades to use are warm oranges and deep burgundies, all those kind of warm shades. I know it seems like they would majorly clash with red hair, but I find they actually look really good and they make my blue eyes pop. Two palettes I think are really great to have in your collection are the Morphe 35O. This has a big range of browns and then a few oranges on the side. And then next is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. And then when it comes to more colorful shades, I find that purples and dark greens, even like khaki, looks really, really good. And then lipsticks are the last thing I want to talk about today. And again, don't be afraid to experiment. There are so many vibrant colors that I love wearing and I think look great with my red hair. I love deep tone, muted reds and oranges, and I also love darker shades like those purples and burgundies. But in my opinion, the #1 lipstick shade that suits redheads are browns. Oh my god, I love wearing brown lipstick. These two here by Huda Beauty are my absolute faves. I have the shade Flirt and Spice Girl. And then when it comes to a nude lipstick, this is probably one of the hardest things because you don't want it to be so nude that it washes you out, but then you don't want a pink. I have found my perfect nude and it is by MAC. It is the shade Blankety. It is described as a soft pink beige, and I think that the beige undertone is what really makes it the perfect nude for me. It gives it that perfect amount of depth so that it's not too nude and it's not too pink and it doesn't wash me out. Alright guys, they are all my top picks of makeup products and my top tips for redheads. I hope you enjoyed watching today and that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have pale skin, then have a look at my other videos. I think that you would really find my channel helpful as most of my content is related to being pale. And if you have red hair, then even better because you can relate to me even more. I do have another video on my channel called Best Makeup and Beauty Tips for Pale Skin, so I will also leave that linked in the description box down below if you're interested. If you aren't already, then please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any video suggestions or any makeup products you would like me to review, then just leave me a comment down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye!